Yeah. Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you could open bat or open bowl. Just pick up your telephone and give us a call. The number to call is 442-0175. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socioeconomic issues. We have no boundary. We fear no subject matter. And we take calls. We only encourage people to be respectful, express your opinion, or give us the truth. It is better we deal with truth. Now, truth is a tough thing. It burns people. And you could be as simple as possible. Truth is very effective. So at this stage, we have a caller on the line, and welcome, caller.
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I know you send some information there. Just give me about a minute or me to have. All right. The St. George Northwest Fundraising Committee will be having a social event at the Grandma Playing Field, Saturday, the 26th of November. So we are inviting the people in the residence to come out to the fundraiser. Starting time, 1 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Pierre. Have a blessed day.
Yes, caller. I had to ask the question, to what extent the banks on our island and those who prey on the farmers in the process of predial larceny are difficult to separate. They practically one and the same. I ask this question because farmers plant things in the land and they hope when they're able to harvest it, they would be in a better financial position. They would be able to gain income from it. They work the land. They till the soil. They plant the crop. They claim farmers are the most patient people where business venture is concerned. Some crop comes in early. Some crop take years to mature. And the farmer sits and waits for the crop to mature. And then up come individuals and take away the farmer's crop. Maybe because of the socioeconomic condition. That might be a motivating factor. Maybe because they are addicts, they on coke. We have a lot of predial larceny in Grenada as a result of people who are addicts. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hello?
Welcome. Punch, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
I quote in a verse from Bob Marley. One of Bob Marley's song. Hypocrites and parasites will come up and take a bite. And even night should turn to day. A lot of people would run away. Mr. Pierre, a lot of people lost their work in Garriku. A lot of people get dismissed in Grenada. The union remains silent. One person who get dismissed and he put and they want to lock down the country. Mr. Pierre, hypocrites and parasites. Thank you.
A very interesting comment, caller. You see, the port people are represented by unions. So government don't mess with workers when they're represented by the union. The people in the public service are represented by the Public Workers Union. The teachers are represented by the Teachers Union. But there are a number of workers in the country that are not represented by unions. No government could easily fire public officers per se. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, sir, how are you doing?
Welcome, good.
You was mentioning a while ago about the farmers and pretty larceny. What I want to touch on is labor, farm labor, or getting work for you, Mr. Pierre. It's very difficult to get people to work the land. I don't know why, but I remember Mr. Pierre growing up. There was no weed eater, right? And we used to have to cut lash for people, especially Christmas time. Now you're going and cut people yard in the sun, and it takes long to do that. Now they have weed eater and the young people, they don't want to work. I don't understand what's going on. Because if when I was growing up, Mr. Pierre, I had a weed eater to cut all these rich people yard in the sun, to cut lash whole day. And unless you don't finish, you don't get the money. Now they have weed eater, they don't want to do the work. What's going on with these people here? Is this the culture change? Because with a weed eater, you don't must work for people, Mr. Pierre. If you have a weed eater on you, you can go around and do 2 yards a day. Maybe a yard, a small yard costs you $40. 2 days in a day, you make 80. Every day you go out, you do another 2 yards. You can add up and make money. But these people, some of them rather go and commit robbery and all this thing. There is work out there, but people don't want to work. So I don't know who to be blamed. But we need to get back to the way we used to do things. And life is much easier now for the people. That's what I want to say.
Yes, scholar. Interesting comments. It's a question of culture and management and ambition. It's a whole multiplicity of things. A lot of young people, they don't necessarily have to go to work. We never encourage marriage in our country. We don't encourage men and women shacking up. So the man knows he has to take care of his wife or his woman or his spouse. Women take care of themselves. Men take care of themselves. And then you have some tourist relationship. We visit one another. So you have a lot of women on the job market. In addition to that, there are a lot of people who grow up and they don't know much about using cutlass. They're not really agriculture workers per se. And that's a challenge that we have in society. We have a lot of small farms, small holdings, and they cannot maintain workers permanently. So they need part-time workers. They cannot employ a worker year-round. So a lot of different factors have contributed to this issue. And I think it's important to make some comment on the gentleman in relationship to the port. There are some workers that are unionized. No government could touch them. So the workers on the port in a union, and they express solidarity with the workers. And the port is a place where unions are strong. The teachers' union, if the government fire one teacher, because they have green blood, the whole teachers' union closing down our school. If the government fire one public officer, because they have green blood, the whole public service closing down the port. That is why the government is not interfering with these workers. That is why the government rampaging through the parallel public service and taking political advantage on cooks, on cleaners, on the roving care program, on the poor of the poor, people who did not have a basic education on living school. Yes, scholar, welcome. Yeah. This is one of the reasons. So you have the public service per se, and you have the parallel public service, what we call the auxiliary staff, what unions like to call temporary permanent. They're inside there for 15 years. Government never fired them. That never happened before, never. There are some information that going around now on the ground that used to happen. It never happened before. It cannot happen. You can't go find public officers. Policemen, by the nature of their job, they could be transferred within any place in the state of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martin. So a policeman that is working in customs could be sent to the Governor General office tomorrow morning. Or he could be sent in traffic. Or he could be transferred to Carriacou. People in the agriculture division, those on the permanent staff, the extension officers, they too could be transferred without notice. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hey, Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah. Well, the pension finally paid. So, what I don't find that is justification. Because I just say some people work so hard and only one section of the public was getting that money. One section, and matter of fact, they say to qualify in that section to get money, and then some people work the same people with the same set of people, they work together with them. And maybe they are cook or they whatever, and they are not together. I find it's time they have to reform that interest, because that don't make no sense that one you contributing to a pension and only one set of people are benefiting from it. That ain't making no sense to me. That ain't making, and I guess other people that don't making sense. Because some people work alongside the same people and them and retire, and they just get maybe get that, and they don't get that type of money. And I think tomorrow make 44 years since that white pastor came into Guyana and killed them people in Jonestown, killed about 900 people, and the major of people that died is black people. So just be black people, be aware of all this thing. I think Saturday, the 18th November 1978, this thing happened. So I think tomorrow we'll make it 44 years. So take it up here and have a good weekend.
And caller, I was in Guyana at that time. At that time, I used to live in Guyana. You know? Yeah. So, yes, that's another interesting discussion. You know, it is sad and it's unfortunate that the pension issue has been politicized around party lines. And a lot of people did not understand it. And some political people deceived Grenadians. They gave them the impression that the pension was for everybody. Once you work with government, they gave that impression. And it was not so. When the previous Prime Minister called for dialogue, the union lawyers, the National Democratic Congress, and other individuals discouraged them for dialogue. In fact, Dick Mitchell said there is no need. All you need is a pension desk. This issue has been with us a long time. We had the public service and the other pension system. Eric Gary introduced the Provident Fund to cover the people in the estate, auxiliary staff, temporary workers. And when the revolution come, they said these things would not be sustainable. So let us put NIS and put everybody in it. And it looked as if it makes sense. But because of technicalities in the law, and the lawyers did not do a good job, the framers of the pension law in 1983 did not do a good job. And consequently, after, the lawyers' advice did not help the country. So we are in the position we are in because of technicalities. Technicalities that this present administration know as a result of the utterances of the Minister of Labor and the Minister and the Attorney General in the future could have serious financial consequences for Grenada. Whatever reform you take now is going to take about 30-something years before it really solves. Because you must have constitutional reform to make this reform. I don't see which trade union I would support to amend the constitution. In addition to that, Deaton refused to send out the olive branch. He is on the warpath, victimizing NNP. So don't expect NNP to support Deaton in any issue. The present policies of the National Democratic Congress incorporating political victimization as part of the modus operandi is going to fracture this country badly. Let us pray to God that the tourist trade improves and that the United States do not cut the ability we have to sell passport. Otherwise, we will be in serious economic problem. The NDC always have the natural inclination to ignore the plight of the ordinary man and the man on the ground. NDC say teach them to fish. Don't give them no fish. So you expect to see NDC cut the social safety net program and have less people benefiting from it. You expect to see higher unemployment. But the NDC will always butter the people in the high echelons of our society. That is the policy. Every time they come in power, they do the same thing. They go after the people in the lower economic strata. During the homegrown structural adjustment program, a program NDC will hail as a masterpiece, they fire workers on the government estate. They fire workers in the propagator. Yes, caller, welcome.
So, Pierre,
Yes, caller, welcome.
good morning, brother.
Yeah.
So, Pierre, NLP so wicked, NLP said to stop going into that.
Thank you, caller. Yeah, the caller only had one statement. So you expect to see that every time the NDC come in power, they does that. It is part of the philosophy. I say to people, it is part of the philosophy. That is a strategy. If you speak to some of the politicos of the National Democratic Congress, or some of the individuals that will speak politics, they would tell you that is the best thing to do, to take the jobs of these people. They will tell you it happened before, but they cannot prove it to you. You cannot fire workers that is unionized. Some of the workers that have been fired, like the workers in Carriacou and some in Grenada, they were paying unions because they was in the bargaining unit. But the unions don't care about them. The unions would not fight for them. If the unions is pressured, they might make some statements. The unions always had the tendency to support the NDC policy from day one, not now, years go back. The union people in the public service, teachers, they always had the tendency to support the National Democratic Congress. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, well, they're working for the NMP now.
Yes, caller. Thank you. So what one have to do is to try to get the NDC to shift their philosophical position. It's a philosophical position they have. If every time you come in power, you do the same thing, they attack, they go after the people on the ground. Because they claim they have the attitude that is you responsible for the condition you're in. It's you that didn't learn. It's you that didn't learn to fish. So they have that policy. And now that you see the port action, the port is expressing solidarity with one worker. So the government would not touch public officers. They could transfer them. The law allows it. So even if a public officer feels that he is victimized, he wouldn't make any noise because that is the law. You could be transferred. An extension officer could be sent to St. David's. And even if he is living in St. David, he could be transferred to the Western Division. And one from the Western Division could be transferred to the Eastern Division. And he could be sent to Carriacou. In yesteryear, you heard a lot of issue with victimization when workers went to Carriacou, particularly in Gary days. They claimed they was punishing them politically. Sometimes it was not so, but the majority of people in the public service generally did not support Eric Gary. So once an individual was transferred to Carriacou, and if he did not want to go, he cried foul. No one upsets if they go to Carriacou for 2 days to work. That's like a holiday, they're glad. But if you send them for any long period of time, they don't want to work in Carriacou. In those days, Carriacouians don't even want to go back in Carriacou and work. So they see it as victimization. I had the opportunity to work in Carriacou for 2 years straight and went back 15 times for very short periods and work. And work in every parish in Grenada. I never considered it as victimization. But I could object. I could have object and cry victimization. Because other people in the department did not want to go to Carriacou and work. But I believe in grow where they plant you. If you could be transferred from any place within the department, I have a policy, public officers must grow where they are planted. So that was my style. But in the parallel public service, government used to put you there and never fire. In recent times, these individuals come in on contract. They started to try to, because of the same hangling and wrangling, they provide contract for them that they continue to renew. What the National Democratic Congress did is to fire these people. I believe there is absolutely no justification except victimization. And that is why I call for the government to disband, get rid of, close down the MIT, Ministry of Mobilization, Implementation, and Transformation. The word transformation is a lie. The National Democratic Congress have no issue with transformation because based upon an interview that is floating around on social media, and the NDC has not disassociated themselves from, the interview claimed that Dick Mitchell said, it is not so much transformation, but restorative justice. And NDC hardliners is talking about detoxification and cleansing. And that is why I call upon them to justify publicly the Ministry of Mobilization or shut it down. That is why I call on people like Mr. Tillman Thomas and Jimmy Bristol to speak about it. Add you 2 pence to it. Open your mouth on it. Because you like to jump up and pass moral judgment when anything is associated with Kit Mitchell and corruption. So I challenge you now. Don't only do it conveniently. Try to be consistent because I have a lot of respect for you. And call on Dick Mitchell to explain what he means by restorative justice. He's a lawyer. Lawyers is good with words. And he speaks slow. So his mouth is not moving faster than his brain. When I speak fast. So my mouth could move faster than my brains. But Dick Mitchell take his time with words. So he said in a friendly interview, it is not so much transformation, but restorative justice. So I make the call for him to withdraw the statement or explain what he means by transformation. You know, these things is important. We have to try to get it right. I said before, all governments have been accused of showing favoritism with workers in the parallel service. But no government in Grenada post the revolution have been firing workers, and the only reason is because of their political inclination. I fear that if the NDC don't change their course, that would be entrenched in Grenada, and it would be a sad future for a small group of people. We have people from different homes that support NDC, from the same home that support different political parties. Husband and wife in the same home support different political parties. I saw them dressed in the green and the yellow, laughing and going on different vehicles. You're going to create serious fracture, bitterness and anger in the villages. Groups would not survive. Already, the principal of one school fired a guy on the 13th, call him back on the 17th, and fire him at the end of the month. Somebody tell her she fired him too quick, so wait for the month end. So she called him back. And she fired him in the end of the month. What is the problem? It's blood green. You have workers, the road wardens, working for the last 4 or 5 years on the road every day. They call a telephone in the night, they fire them, and they bring others. Some of the others they bring, some of the other people in the group was carpenters and other areas. You see, the National Democratic Congress, I was slightly disappointed in this group, but not surprised, because that is made in the DNA. Every time they come into power, they do the same thing. And I would like them to challenge me on that one. Every time NDC come in power, they go after the poor of the poor. They call them, they're very dismissive in their language towards the ordinary man. Call them needy and greedy. Dickens said they're spraying hand and wiping counter. Very dismissive of the group of people. And they do everything in power to facilitate those who are better educated. You don't have to believe me. Look at the contingent when they travel. Start to examine the NDC contingent when they travel. They even give bonus. So if you're traveling and you have your boyfriend, you get a little bonus. And they always do that. And they don't believe it's wrong. That is why we need to speak and we need to challenge those who like to believe they are the custodians of morality to speak on it. To speak on it. It will be better for us in the society. And you can give us a call. The number is 4420175. We always take calls. I was saying the banks, individual deposit money in the bank. After 1 year, the bank describes your money as dormant. So if you go to the bank to find out what is your balance, the bank tells you your account is dormant. So you have to wake it up. It's sleeping. But while your money is sleeping, the bank is taking out in your money. You have some sad stories in Grenada, you know. Woman put her money in the bank. She was rearing sheep. So when she sell her sheep, she put the money in the bank. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. All right, we lost that caller. So every time she have a sheep for market, she sell it and she put the money in the bank. She said that is for Sianka Tuka. Because she remember when her mother died and had to be buried, the village had to come together to bury her mother. And she said they always give a word. You couldn't even bury your mother. So she always trying to put money in the bank so that her people could be buried with dignity. So every time she sell a sheep, she put the money in the bank. She said that is for Siankatuka. But they give her a nice raid. A lot of her sheep died. People thief them. And the next time she gets some lash dog, kill them. So a long time she didn't go in the bank. So when she went in the bank, they tell her her money is dormant. After explanation, she had to put $20 and show she ID card. So she had to return another time. And when she did return and she put $20, they tell her she had $20.90 in the bank. The teller realized she might have fallen. So she gave her a seat to explain to her. The money she had in the bank all these years and she didn't go in the bank was taking out in the money. If they're giving you 1% interest, they're taking out $10 every month. So 90 cents that remain. So now she has $20.90. I asked this question. How is that different from the individuals who pray on the farmer's land? Those who are involved in pre-deal larceny. How the action of the bank is different. The money you are saving for hard time, Siankatuka. If a child is sick, or somebody dead, or you have to bail out a son from prison, the bank is taking out in that money every month. And after 1 year, they describe your money as dormant. 1 year. Now, who speaks for these people? The caller make the comparison with the trade union on the port. They have a lot of solidarity. That is the purpose of trade union, to defend the workers. But the workers in the parallel public service and the ordinary man, who defends it? In the 50s, Eric Gary come around and he fought for these people. The British sent 2 battleships in Grenada. They tell him he's only a little black boy that give him trouble. But when people start to show the power of the ordinary man, the people they used to call illiterates and estate children, the British sent down 2 battleships to quell the struggles in Grenada. 1951. And that was the birth of Eric Gary. And Eric Gary decided to educate his people. So he built 28 schools in 13.5 years. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hello, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
I call back. I don't hope you mind.
No, man, go right ahead.
I'm glad you mentioned a while ago about, I can't remember what you just said, but you mentioned about some people with some money. But Mr. Pierre, do you remember Daiko, Clico, and this kind of insurance that was, and Cap Bank? All this money was invested by our home people, Mr. Pierre. Remember? Our local people who work hard, Mr. Pierre, for years. And they never get compensation up to this day, Mr. Pierre, you know.
So you think the bank is right to take the other poor people money because of that?
No, I'm not saying that. You're putting words in my mouth.
No, just ask.
No, I'm not saying that. But I draw reference to that because this has been happening so many times and no one addressed the issue. They had put it to this guy who is now governor of Eastern Central Caribbean, and nothing has been done up to today. You know?
Who you think in Grenada should be speaking up when the ordinary man who is not unionized, who you think should speak up for them?
For the ordinary man who not in union?
Not in union. Like those who have been fired now. Like those who put their money in the bank and the bank taking their money every month.
Well, I think the union have an...
They're not unionized. They're not unionized. Union only speak for the members. Who should speak for them?
They should come in. They should come in and seek it.
The union only speak for the people who they are paid in them grouping.
So, in other words, the people who are not insured, unionized you're talking about. What I think should happen here, we should form an organization, an independent organization of body that seek workers' interests apart from trade unions.
Okay.
By doing so, we can take the issue to the unions.
You need a next Eric Gary or next Kit Mitchell to stand up.
Well, history have a way of repeating itself, you know.
Yeah, you need us.
Huh?
But in the meantime, I believe that somebody need to say something.
Yeah, you're right.
You don't agree with me? You have people working for 5-15 years and they are just been fired without any excuse, any reason. You have people who put their little kakada in the bank and they say they have it for hard time, and the bank takes out a portion every month, and when you reach a few cents, the bank put it on the newspaper and say abandon account. How that could be right?
Who is responsible for that?
That's why I'm asking you. You same thing as saying. Who is going to speak up?
Mr. Pierre, government and bank work hand in hand, isn't it? A bank don't just come in a country and do what they want. You know? Government have control over this bank.
All right, Colin.
They set policies. They set measures, terms and conditions. You know? But Mr. Pierre, talking about banking, for the past few years, banks been closing 2 p.m., even on Friday. Don't the banking sector could look into that? On a Friday, at least, Mr. Pierre, they could open the bank up to 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Well, they don't want the bank. Don't want much poor people in the bank again.
Okay.
So the others, they say have internet and all kinds of things, so you don't need to come in the bank.
Okay.
So that is one reason. Yes, Colin.
So people have been suffering for too long, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more we could do as government, as private sector, as citizens of the country here.
Do you think the government is correct in fining the people they are fined without justification? Without saying why they're doing it?
Right. If the government is fining people at this time, Mr. Pierre, I think it is wrong. At the end of the day, we are all Grenadians. As you mentioned a while ago, the NDC and NNP living together in one household. So at the end of the day, I don't think it's making sense to fire people. But Mr. Pierre, I don't have facts or record to show.
I know you don't have. That's why you said if, and that's all right. Yeah. You don't. That's all right.
People complain a lot.
Yeah.
Even people mentioning that they're taking back stuff from them, but I think most of the people that come in on air, Mr. Pierre, and mentioning this thing are propaganda.
Okay. So
may not be true, you know?
that's why I'm absolutely certain about what I speak about. So that's why I speak, and that's why I'm challenging Tillman Thomas and Bristol and Deacon Mitchell. And this is why I'm asking to disband the Ministry of Mischief.
Mr. Pierre, but Tillman Thomas have any say in the NDC? You think so?
I saw him fighting to pass moral judgment on the issue of corruption vis-a-vis the ambassador issues.
Yeah.
And I saw Jimmy Bristol on the issues with the union. So since I'm encouraging these men that I have great respect for to be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the last time I know the gentleman, the lawyer, was part of PGM, and he resigned. He resigned from that organization. So I don't know if you go back to the NDC.
Jimmy Bristol has been in the politics. In fact, he enabled string cotton politics. His company that he involved in has been associated with the union since the devil was a little boy.
Okay.
And Tillman Thomas enabled string cotton politics.
The first time Tillman ran was 1980.
Caller, I ain't tongue long.
I know that.
And when I tell you he enabled string cotton politics, believe it.
He said he was in prison sometime in the revolution.
Tillman Thomas was jailed too. I think he was human rights lawyer. When he visited prison, they say, he tell him, Bishop ain't crazy. You all must do something. They say, go and ask Bishop.
For a few days.
And I know he spent years in prison.
I know Winston White was in prison.
Tillman Thomas spent I ain't tongue long. Tillman Thomas spent years in prison.
Yeah. But I also know Lionel.
Yeah.
Winston White, Leslie Pierre. All those guys was in prison.
3,000 Grenadians. Over 3,000 were jailed without charge, without trial, or an opportunity to defend themselves.
They was ruling by the people law.
The revolution committed the worst crimes in Grenada after slavery and colonialism.
You think so?
And over 3,000 to 4,000 people flee the country to avoid heavy manners. And they even castrate a fella. And they pong out the toenail of some policemen.
At the time, that's how the country was running, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, and people like us, we stay quiet and say, that is the time. What you expect is a revolution, it go happen. So now people saying, Deacon just come, why criticize him? He firing how much people, don't criticize him. And he deceived the people, you know. You knew Deacon tell the people you make them permanent?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
To watch people in the eyes and tell them you will make them permanent.
You know, most politicians are dictators.
We ain't talking about most politicians, we talk about Deacon.
But
You
most
see,
politicians are dictators.
yeah, so that means you're right.
And they cannot fulfill the stuff they promised.
Right. So it doesn't mean that
the past prime minister didn't promise us island gas.
it doesn't mean that we shouldn't speak about what Deacon promised the people.
No, but
And
the past one promised us island gas.
Right. Yeah.
How is it?
So that is a justification for Deacon to tell the people.
I'm not saying
Well,
that.
I'm asking you that, or what you see. That you see, you're trying to avoid holding Deacon responsible for the open lies that he deceived the poor of the poor. Now, if Deacon told public officers that, and they believe I said that their business, they're dumb. But he went to the poor of the poor, and he even used the example of a cook and a cleaner. So he made these people under a false sense of security believe that they will be made permanent. And he even give them a promise. You know, when Jesus Christ said in the Bible, not Jesus Christ, the commandment about children obey your parents or something like that, that is the only commandment with a promise. He said, when you get permanent, you're going to be able to go in the bank and take a loan.
He said that, yeah, he did say that.
So, and he knows better. Deacon know that the bank don't want to see these people on them. Because the income so low, the bank don't want to see them, not even the credit union. So he deceived them, he tricked them, he lied for them, and then he fired them. Now tell me how that is right.
Yeah.
Tell me how that could be right.
No, it's not
No,
right.
you're not speaking about ordinary people here. You're speaking about the intelligentsia. This is my concern. When the intelligentsia go in front the poor of the poor and openly deceive them, something is wrong. Maurice Bishop did it.
You think
Maurice Bishop went to the Comforter and he told the Rastafarians, the whole village you could plant weed.
and after what happened?
He locked them up.
Right.
And Fargo went to jail for that. And the man with the Red Rover. And when Bishop done it, he collected the Rasta and put them in the cow pen. But people say it's Hopeville, but the Rasta say it's cow pen. Because he dropped feed, give them like if them is animals.
Mm-hmm.
And when they went up in the woods and the fire gun, Mackenzie get shot. But he run, so they don't bother. So he die in the woods.
Yeah.
And there are people collected children in the woods, at least 3 I know of, because the parents was arrested and brought in Hoopville. Now tell me how that could be right.
That's part of the point.
How these things could be right?
Mr. Pierre, even Gary did something wrong, you know. You remember the Mongoose gang? They used to go around beating people, no?
Yes, thank you, Carla.
You remember that?
Yes, so it's right for Deacon to do what he do now, because Gary do wrong, Kid do wrong, so Deacon correct. Are you telling us that?
No,
So
I'm
Deacon
not-
right to fire the women of Carriacou
I'm not saying
without
that.
advancing justification. Is he correct to establish a ministry for political mischief?
But all government do that, past government.
All right, so let's not talk about it because
Last thing,
it
Mr.
can
Pierre.
change.
Okay, I'm gonna leave another caller call.
Yes,
Have a
thank
nice
you.
day.
Thank you,
Bye.
brother. Somewhere along the line, we have to face some reality. Every time a government change, you expect better. What happened in the 70s, if it was wrong, you don't expect a politician to do it in the 80s. When it was done in the 70s, maybe the politician was not thoughtful. But you have an example now. So you're not supposed to do in the 80s. Whatever Gary did that was wrong then, a next government not supposed to go and do it. And Gary came about fighting for the poor and the poor of the poor, the estate people, the people who couldn't read and write. So he said, we have to educate our people. So he built, under his term, 28 schools in 13.5 years. The St. George's University, he was fought tooth and nail for bringing the St. George's University. The Land for the Landless program, technical education in cooperation with Canada, pre-primary education. And the Gary found out children was not going to school. So he brought in the truancy officers to go and encourage children, they must go to school. In those days, they used to beat black people children. Their skin on the back, they used to call it hide. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
I would like you to tell us some of the lies that kids gave us. You see, some of us, we forget. You see?
I didn't hear that question.
I say, I would like you to tell us some of the lies that kids gave us.
You tell us the lies.
No, you know them. Why you didn't speak about it before?
Caller,
You know the lies.
caller. Yes, you see, our program, you could call and say what you want to say. Now we constantly, and this is what is wrong with Grenada. And this is why I call in Mr. Tillman Thomas. This is why I call in on Jimmy Bristol. Because they're set up as the custodians of morality. And they're making moral judgment call. And Deacon Mitchell is on the wrong trajectory. He set up a ministry for mischief. We're not supposed to support that. If you think what Gary did was wrong, then why support it now? Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes, caller.
you know, I'm asking for a question, eh? Okay. Two wrong make a right?
Now, if you're wrong, you're wrong. And we're
If
not
you're
supposed to
wrong,
support
if
it.
you're wrong, you're wrong. And you cannot justify a wrong with a wrong.
Well, they can't even tell us what is the lies.
Exactly. They just call and say something. Because what I'm saying, okay, like, if you promise okay. But then now, no income, but people did not lose their work. People still working.
Well, Guyana take over 10,
Exactly.
15 years to bring oil in the country.
Yeah, people still working.
So Grenada could still have its oil maybe in the next
They
10,
could still
15
have it.
years.
So it's better to make sure
And
that
whether the government wrong or right, they give a justification for it.
exactly.
So Deacon Mitchell could tell us now about oil.
Exactly. Because what I'm saying is that okay, if you promise oil and you get oil, so and you walk in and send you home, what you would tell them? Forget about the oil, but keep it. I want to be continue working. Because when you walk in, you get a salary every month. Right?
But Kola, it's very important for people to engage these political activists because they're on the ground and they are active telling people that they used to victimize people before. And when you ask them, tell me where, they don't have answers.
They have no answer.
So I am in discussion. Anyway, I meet them, I don't back down from discussion. And I always ask, give me reasons.
Yeah, because when they call, but they can't defend what they call answer.
No, they can't. Deacon can't defend himself, much less that.
Right? Because remember, like you promised to say to people, okay, like what? Putting people on contract was illegal. Right? And somebody shook up the pen, you put him again permanent. Right? Which you already know. What you're saying to them was not the truth.
Yeah, he knew he was lying.
But with the oil situation, you could say, well, yes, there was oil outside there. Because even at the end, you see, at the time, they were still for the same oil. But did we get anything?
Well, this is not, the oil issue is not even an argument. Deacon knows he was lying for the people. And my issue with him, if he was speaking to senior public officers, teachers, lawyers, is all well and good. You don't go and tell lies to the poor of the poor. And the National Democratic Congress does it successfully on 3 occasions. They did it during the time of the homegrown program. They did it in 2008, and they do it in 2020. And I think it is wrong. And this is why I say that is the truth. I know the truth burn and hurt, but I think the best thing to do is to just speak the truth. Yeah. Yes, scholar. Yes, and this is my challenge. You hear me say on many occasions, I don't encourage any children to waste time. Don't waste time in school studying history. Learn your family history. Learn the history that is told from the people's mouth. Those who write in history, a lot of them telling lies. They're not speaking the truth. When Monkey writes his story, Monkey always right. And this is why I always ask the people who challenge me and give them a chance to speak. Tell me why. Tell me how. What is the reason? What did Kit lie about? What did Eric Gary did? And it's difficult for them to stand when I tell them what these people do. 28 schools in 13.5 years. The NNP under Kit Mitchell, you could say what you want about him. He always tried to reach out to the people in the lower echelons of society. Grenada has spent the most money under the social safety net program. The Imani program is one of the best programs that have been instituted in Grenada in the last 100 years. And I dare and I challenge anyone to tell me which other program was better. Caller, you are our last caller. You got a punch.
Hi, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to you. I won't take long. I'm punching.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Pierre. I know our Prime Minister, our ex-Prime Minister, he done very well by the Grenadian people and the young people. He made provision for them so they could step up, so they could step on the ladder and go higher and gain higher heights. But this government, I heard this Prime Minister himself, he stood on the platform and he lied to the Grenadian people. Whatever you said on the radio, that's what he said and that's what I heard. And not us alone hear it. A lot of Grenadian people heard it. And now he's backtracking. And the things he said he would have done, he's not doing it. He's cut it down and these people is suffering, they're crying. I heard the people crying. So those who are trying to defend him, I don't know where they're living. They're not living in Grenada. As far as they're concerned, they got everything in the cupboard. They got food to eat, and the rest of the Grenadian people are suffering and they're crying. The children want food. They need to pay the bills. Right now, some of them don't even know if they're going or coming because Christmas is coming and they cannot even help themselves and the family. So tell Deacon what he said, he better put it right. Because he stand up and he opened his mouth and he said it in a big way. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. He continuously speaking like that to the Grenadian people, what he's going to do for them, and trying to say the past Prime Minister was a liar and he could do better. No, he got a chance to do better. Let him do better.
Yes, scholar, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
And we must
Have a nice
never
weekend.
stop speak the truth. You see, the government, the NNP government under Kit Mitchell, always try to reach out to the poor of the poor. The money program, over 3,000 workers. They had some program, I can't remember the name, it was Roving Care Program. I'd like that program, where they go and speak to children between 6 months and 2.5 years. The road wardens, the wardens that are involved working close with the police, those involved with health, Project Fly, the program to help young men to take loans from the GDP Bank. Every effort was made to soften the impact of COVID-19 and the consequences of the pandemic. This was a program that was made for that person. With the government met a treasury that is pregnant. They meet a highly motivated staff. They meet a police force that was highly motivated and a crime rate that was down. Before the Christmas, the government lost their soul and compassion by firing workers before Christmas. And thank you, and we're back with you again next week, Monday, God's will, for another program of On Target. And remember, we on tomorrow, Friday, with the extension. Thank you very much.